there we go. Now we're working. Alright, so good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is currently July 22nd, 2020. This is episode number 4 of the J Money Talks podcast. How is it going, everybody? I am your host, Mr. Jason J. Money Johnson, and we are live. And we are ready to begin this podcast. We got a good amount of stuff to talk about. Lots of craziness has been going on pretty much this past week. Especially, we got the situation that happened with Tory Lanez. Kanye gave his presidential rally in South Carolina. And probably a lot of craziness. Some of the stuff involving the Nick Cannon situation and a few others. But before we begin, I'd like to at least give a shout out to my older sister, Jasmine, who's probably going to be watching this. And I say congratulations to her because she just got married this Monday. Actually attended the wedding. She got married. So congratulations. Like I say, congratulations to my sister and my new brother-in-law, Michael. And it's a happy wedding. It was a pretty good wedding. It was nothing like, where it's like the typical, like, big time wedding. It was Justice of the Peace, Justice of the Peace by, somewhere around, like the Almond Park neighborhood. And it was a pretty good wedding. It was a nice wedding. It's short. It was like a few minutes. Pretty much I was a witness. My dad was a witness as well. And it was a very short wedding. My sister got married. And we had dinner at Red Lobster afterwards. That was our quote-unquote wedding reception. So, yeah, it was pretty good. Have some nice cup of coffee here. Good. I'll set that down right there. So congratulations to my sister Jasmine and her brother-in-law Michael for being married. I'm actually happy. That was a good amount of stuff to talk about. Now let's move on to, I guess, the big stories here. I guess if you didn't know, the first story we should talk about is probably the Nick Cannon situation. If you don't know what Nick Cannon did, it is a big thing. So Viacom/CBS end up canceling Nick Cannon, pretty much separate ties from Nick Cannon, and I guess in a way canceled Wild 'N Out. Because here's the thing, Nick Cannon owns the rights to the show, so one of the things is you get rid of him, you get rid of Wild 'N Out. This is a big thing. Now you're wondering what was the reason for it. Now, in one of his podcasts on YouTube, he has a podcast available on YouTube, which is like Cannon's Class, I believe it's called. In the podcast, he ends up saying, calling white people savages, Jews run the bank, and, people of color everyone in America will be people of color by 2050, and it was a crazy, thing. It was kind of a very woke, topic, and it was a very, woke subject. Things he said was kind of like something like a woke activist would say, and it's the thing about Nick Cannon, he's been woke for quite a while, so this is nothing normal. This is nothing new to us. This is normal. And that's the thing about Viacom, is one of the things about it is that they knew what Nick Cannon was, and they still decided to cancel him. To me, I think he said anything wrong? Not really. I never got a chance to listen to much of the audio, but I've seen the quotes and the clip notes and some of this stuff. And to me, the way he said it, if you go ahead and listen to what he said, to me, I don't think it is something that he's not entirely wrong. Because in the historical fact, there has been like, because understand, like, throughout the history of pretty much this country being founded on and everything, understand it pretty much was founded on pretty much European colonizers, you know, raping, murdering, forcing like Native Americans out of their land, forcing black people to slavery and into the United States, and a bunch of other things. And that is what Nick Cannon said is true. And that's the thing, like, black people are being called savages and murderers, rapists, all that stuff. Yet they are the ones that are doing this very egregious, like, pretty much no, like, guilt or conscious about it. And that's a big thing I think Nick Cannon was trying to agree with. And I can agree with Nick Cannon on that subject, because there has been a lot of things that is shown that it is a bad idea. Because Nick is, because that's a big, that's the thing about Nick Cannon, is he, did this, situation with, that pretty much there's been a lot of stuff going on in this racial tensions, and this is one of the things that what pretty much Nick Cannon was trying to say is, like, what's the reason about it? The way he said it, now, I think the message he gave made perfect sense, but the way he said it, like the context, came out differently. Like the Jews running the banks portion, to me, what I think he's meaning to is referring to, like, in the, if you look at history, if you look at how, where, like Judaism, like, came from, it pretty much was based in the Middle East. Like, all the, like, the big, like, religions, like Judaism, Christianity, Islam, all that is pretty much was all created in the Middle East. And one of the things about, like, if you look at, like, because if you look at, like, the truth about, like, Judaism and Christianity and some of the stuff, like, the people originally were pretty much people of an Arabic and African descent. Like, that's where most of, like, the religions were. Like, and the thing about, like, the Jewish community was saying about, like, was, like, what you're saying, like, Jews running banks is anti-Semitic. I don't think, like, understand, like, the term, and here's the thing about the term anti-Semitic, the term actually means to, term is being, racist people who speak, like, the Semitic languages, Semitic culture, and some of those, like, Semitic languages are pretty much of, like, Aramaic, I think Hebrew, and I think a few other languages. I'm not entirely sure. Let me look at this terminology. Anti Semitic. Like, definition of, because anti-Semitism means, according to this, is pretty much the hostility or prejudice against Jews, but I think anti-Semitic. Because let's see. Because Semitic languages is I think this is what there are. Yeah, there are 7 different, like, Semitic languages. So, in this case, which is Arabic, Amharic, Tigrinya, Hebrew, Tigric, and Aramaic. Aramaic. Okay, the second one is Amharic. So that's what they are. Like those are like the 7 languages they are. It is pretty much now. Granted, there is Hebrew is one of those languages, but that language was based off of pretty much in the time of like of Christianity and Judaism came from that time when like the actual Jews were pretty much forced in slavery in Egypt and stuff like that. That is the type of like excuse me there. And that's pretty much those Jews like at that time like the Judaism that people know is pretty much people who are of African descent, people from the Middle East. Like in the Christianity, like Christianity was pretty much in the Middle East, and there was like a realistic render of Jesus. Realistically, if you look at that realistic render, he looked more or less like more or less black, like sort of like I guess my skin tone, or with dark hair, maybe longer, and it's not like it's bad. Like now, the thing is how it's been bad now is pretty much the anti-Semitism usually was about like yes, of course, about Jews, but it became more like a blanket term analogy because some of the stuff that was said by Hitler and stuff, like Jews running the banks and stuff, he was pretty much referring to Jews in Europe who grew up in like we did grow up in the Jewish faith, but were speaking like pretty much in like Polish, Russian, German, like that is what they mean, what he's referring to, and that is like the Jews that the canon is talking about is probably like the original Jews, like the people like the 12 tribes and all that stuff, and that's why he's like referring to from there. And to me, it is interesting. Do I think it's probably super woke and it's very like something that is very like discussed. It's something that's going to take a lot of discuss. But to me, the big thing was Viacom fired a canon. And if you're wondering what does Viacom have, Viacom is what is MTV, VH1, BT, Nickelodeon, like all the like those big things, and Viacom decided to cancel them, and that's a big thing because here's the thing about MTV now. It was probably the only thing that pretty much a majority of people watched and consistently watched. Because nowadays, not a lot of people watch MTV as much as they used to. Like, some only things that's on now I would probably watch on a regular basis is probably maybe Ridiculousness, but I don't watch it as much as I used to when I was like a teenager. So that was pretty much my thing, and that is something that is now going to be affecting them. Now there's a lot of people like black community is pretty much playing on like go ahead boycott Viacom, pretty much boycott BT and like some of this other stuff, which I can understand completely because I mean it is a thing where it's just like ridiculous. And now we're getting now do I think the Wild 'N Out show is going to come back on some form or fashion? Probably will, because I think Nick Cannon pretty much has like invested a lot of money, and he's pretty much hosted like The Masked Singer, America's Got Talent, and like a bunch of things. I'm probably sure he invested his money quite well enough. He probably could start his own network. Probably he could start his own network, or I think Diddy sent a tweet like, "Hey, like Nick, come on home to this like channel here, like his I think it's called a Revolt Network, which is like exclusive, which is pretty much a black-owned network." So I think his show will come back on. I think it's, to me, I don't get me wrong. I think what he said is right on the money. The message is quite spoken, but the context in which he said it didn't like resonate with probably white people a lot, and it pretty much provided the opposite effect. And like the message he said is clear, but it just did not come out right. And yeah, I'm hoping that pretty much Nick can bounce back from this. I think Fox pretty much is. I think I saw something that said Fox is kind of defending like Nick, because I think he's still the host of Masked Singer. I'm probably sure a bunch of people are going to eventually come for their heads. So, but other than that, I think Nick Cannon's going to be fine. I think the Wild Night will come back, and I think it's going to probably be much better. Heck, I wouldn't be surprised if they decide to just do something with Netflix or something, make it exclusive, and it's all uncensored, which actually will be a huge blow, especially the amount of episodes that are on there past and present. Oh, there's some stuff we would love to see, and I'd be excited to watch them. I mean, will I still get Netflix? Probably not, but I at least have something. But yeah, alright. So we're going to go ahead, take a quick break, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to go in, we'll be into the next segment, which will probably be about, well, actually, we could knock this out, actually. So actually, we're going to knock this out real quickly right now. And that's probably the Tory Lanez Megan Thee Stallion situation. So if you don't know what happened, Tory Lanez and Megan Thee Stallion were in the same car ever. It was, I think they were driving somewhere, and I guess there was an argument involved somehow, and Tory Lanez ended up shooting Megan Thee Stallion, I believe, in the leg, and Tory Lanez got arrested. They ended up taking his mugshot, ended up getting this height and weight out there, and I laugh at this as I'm like, wait, he's what? Turns out Tory Lanez is actually 5'3", and he weighs 120 pounds. And I'm just like, what? I am taller than this very famous rapper right now. And I'm like, because I'm 5'6", and I'm like, how? How are you this short? Like, Kevin Hart is like 5'4", Cat Williams is 5'5". How are you shorter than them? And I'm like, you probably are a gangster for real, like, but still, like, how? So, to me, I think it's the thing about, like, him being short, because if you listen to, like, a lot of his lyrics and stuff like rap songs, R&B, he's pretty much, all of his lyrics is pretty much saying he's the man, he fucks a lot of bitches, and, like, all that stuff, and I think I can't understand why, because I'm like, because here's the thing, like, about short guys, we are probably the most arrogant people all ever. Like, we can be confident, to at least compensate for our height, we try to at least talk probably the most shit. And try to back it up as best we can. It's just truthfully, like, understand, like, Floyd Mayweather, you probably would want to hook up with Floyd. No one would really want to hook up with Floyd Mayweather. But here's the thing. Dude's loaded. You could say nothing about him. Plus, he can fight. He's a boxer. He can back it up. And I think it's just pretty much that confidence, like, you know how Cat Williams pretty much talks about how short he is, and he's a pimp. Like, that's his, like, mantra and stuff. And like that's the thing, like we deal with like that, and that's the thing about confidence is compensating with height. We talk about how talk about why we're a man because we feel like we, I mean, we're pretty much like the small dogs, like the little poodle, and we're trying to act like we're hot shit against like the big giant pit bull. That's pretty much what we are like. It's pretty much, that's the thing. Like, we try to feel like we're a big dog, yet in reality we're a little dog. Like, that's why I gravitate towards Vegeta in Dragon Ball Z, because he is pretty much, understand, he's actually 5'5". Him in real life, you want to talk shit about him, and here's the thing, he tries, you understand, the dude trains his ass off just to prove he's the big dog. He is like the alpha of this thing. So that is what Vegeta does. So that's why I think it's like what a lot of people pretty much. That's why I think it was. I guess somehow like Mecha Stallion is like what 6'2", I believe. Like how tall is? Let me see. Let me pull this. Let me search this. Megan V. Stallion height 5'10". Like it's, I think it's because of like, so he's 5, so she's 5'10". So yeah, 7 inches taller. Like she pretty much, like I think pretty much since both of them break just as much money, if not, I don't know who makes more money than who, and like this, in terms of records and stuff, and like popularity. But I guess she talked bad about him because talked about him, his height or something. I don't know what happened in the argument, but I think Tori like wanted to prove he was trying to prove he was a big dog with the gun on his side, and I don't know if that is the case or something like that. I don't know enough as is, but it is interesting to know. Because I think actually one thing I've heard is pretty much that is like a lot of people say is understand like one thing about like R&B singers, like people say about like fat guys in terms of like R&B and stuff. Fat guys probably make like the best like R&B songs. Are known to make the best R&B songs. Because here's the thing, like especially love songs and R&B, because most big guys hardly ever get any pussy whatsoever. So when we actually do get pussy, and it's like the one that we hook up with like that one girl, we remember it more than anything else. Like we remember that smell, remember like what your hair was like, and like all that stuff. It's good. That's why it's pretty much somehow like to us. We feel it more than like the average dude, because he probably doesn't have to work as hard just to get pussy. So yeah, it's just that's one of the things about it. It's like I think it's pretty much like the Napoleon complex here. This is like the modern day like version of someone having that Napoleon complex, and that's what Tory Lanez has. I don't know if he's gonna get out of this. I don't know what's going on. Probably got bailed out or something. Hopefully this is a situation that's going to clear up eventually. But yeah, to me that's an interesting thing there. Okay, so we're going to go ahead, go on break here. We're going to talk probably a little bit more about probably this NBA restart and probably a few other things. Probably the Kanye West rally and like a bunch of other things. We're going to talk about that in a minute. Don't go anywhere, folks. We'll be right back. Alright, guys. Before we move on to the next segment, I actually want to do is like probably do a little shout out. So, if you need something that probably helps you out help you out before a workout, you need something to give you extra energy, especially if a day's like cloudy, it's dreary, you don't want to do shit. Get get you something like pre-workout. Me, I've actually been using this good pre-workout, especially from workouts, and that is this here Final Boss pre-workout. It is probably one of the best pre-workouts I've used. I don't use the pre-workout a lot. So one thing I've used was this Cellacore C4 ripped, but this one is absolutely good, especially this flavor here, which is Rainbow Supernova flavor. It pretty much tastes like Scour Skittles. It's pretty much a pretty good thing. You get strong, clean energy. You pretty much get like this. So let's say, let me read this here for you in case you need help. It pretty much gives you strong, clean energy. Pretty much increases your focus. One thing it gives you is increased nitric oxide production. Now, if you're wondering what exactly is that, I had to look this up. It pretty much helps you, like, increases like the oxygen flow in your body, helps you get breathing more oxygen. Pretty much helps you last longer in pretty much workouts. It also helps you out, especially if you're doing, like, say, that special cardio with a friend. I found out that actually is one effect. Helps out a little you down there. So yeah, pretty much, besides before this, I probably was like no joke, I probably was like a 2-bomb jack, so now I pretty much go longer. So I have to go probably a couple minutes, so I just want to throw that out there. So yeah, it helps out, increases muscle endurance, so it actually does a good amount of stuff. The group that does this, they pretty much help, they pretty much believe in quantity, especially just like, this has been pretty good. Has some caffeine in it, so I don't know if you should probably take this. Yeah, it has like, 275 milligrams of caffeine, so let's just say you will probably, if you drink like a lot of coffee, or you're someone who drinks a lot of coffee and espresso, probably don't want to take this. I also got, when everything that helps you out, we also help you out some BCAAs, aminos here. So these aminos are pretty good. Sour Moon Rock flavor. I put 1 scoop of this in, like I say, Powerade Zero. Shake that bad boy up, and it's great. It's pretty much a 0-calorie energy drink. So it turns this into a 0-calorie energy drink. I'm probably going to get the decaf aminos to get, like, there's also, they sell these available in decaf as well. I'm probably going to get me some, but yeah, this of course helps you, supports your muscle growth and recovery, especially if you do like a hard workout, especially after you go through a hard workout. Take your scoop of this in a Power Zero, drink it up, or you're prepping your meals, which I do, pretty much, and that pretty much helps you out a lot. So yeah, check them out at finalbossperformance.com. You pretty much get a bunch of stuff, like there's various flavors of aminos. I got me Sour Moon Rock, I think, and then pre-workout, this isn't like the only flavor. This is like their more recent one, and it's actually really good. They have like some stuff, they got very much pre-workout, aminos, they got greens. They just came out with a protein powder, which tastes like Cinnamon Toast Crunch, which I'm probably gonna get some, but they've actually sold out like really quickly, so I don't know what's in that thing, in that protein powder. Probably just cocaine in there, I don't know, but if that helps me get some gains, you know, I'm gonna take it. So especially I'm going to be stocking up because I'm pretty much about to come up on like the 90-day, you know, my 90-day limit, because I'm almost, yeah, in like 7-8 days, I'm pretty much I can start the countdown to my 24th birthday and my Kobe year. And one of the things I want to do before I hit my Kobe year, I want to go into this one like a little shredded and at least have a baseline, because I know this, when I get to my Kobe year, I'm going in with that Mamba mentality in the gym and doing like a lot of projects and probably in a lot of things. So get you some of this stuff. Final Boss Performance. You can go to FarmBossPerformance.com to find this bad boy, find these bad boys. You can also go to Amazon.com. It's available on Amazon. So if you got that Amazon Prime, free shipping. I'm not sponsored by them. I'm just giving you guys some free game. It helped me out. It can help you guys out if you need some little extra boost in your workouts. And heck, if you use this pre-workout gun mount, maybe it'll help you out with your little fella down there. He'll probably appreciate it. Anyways, FinalBossPerformance.com. Shout outs to them. Alright, let's get back to the program. Okay, so let's get started on the next segment, which is probably the Kanye West presidential rally. And wow, this was something. And the thing that, so one of the big things that he said in this whole entire situation is, number one, the Harry Tubman thing. I'm just like, okay, I can understand, I can see what the message he was trying to say, like, yes, Harry Tubman never, like, yes, did free slaves and actual slavery, but we weren't free. Like, we still were, like, once we got north, we still were, like, treated like second-class citizens. We hardly ever got a chance to get a job, hardly ever got a paycheck, and some of the jobs we got were, like, very poor. We couldn't, like, provide, like, enough to actually live in an actual house and all this stuff. So, if he said it like that, like a one of those woke activists, then yes, that makes perfect sense. I can totally get with it 100%. But the way he just said it ended up going completely wrong. And like, you can tell the people who actually attended the rally was just, oh God, why did I decide to come here? And why did I choose to support this guy? And to me, it's clearly obvious that this is somehow a way of him just trying to be president, and it just did not go well. And to me, it's I just can't honestly, like, support it. It's just the stuff with, like, the abortion stuff was just weird, and it's clearly obvious something is, you can tell there's, like, some mental illness going on with Kanye. It's just, you can tell that he is going through some shit, and no one's, like, really, like, being, like, wants to step up and tell him, like, Kanye, listen, we understand you, we can tell you're bipolar, we can understand your shit, but you are clearly one self-deluded son of a bitch, okay? You are pretty much not going to be, there's no chance of you becoming president. You are clearly either told by Trump, or someone is in a circle telling him, hey man, yeah, you can definitely do it. Yeah, could pretty much run. You can definitely run for president. No one's telling them anything else otherwise. And it's just a point where just like, what in the hell is going on? Like what the hell is going on here? So, I don't know. This is just, it's crazy to me. I think he is clearly lost his mind. And it's clearly obvious, like, the Kardashians are somewhat using him or manipulating him and somewhat aren't doing anything. Because in their minds, they're looking at this like, ooh, looks like we got something for the new season. Yay! Like, no. No, if you're, at this point, it's not something that should be manipulated or used for content. Like, this is a man who's literally somewhat, in a way, broken somewhat. I think it is clearly obvious that he needs help, or this is all just crazy, insane antics because he's going to be releasing a new album, I believe, on Friday. And this is all like probably something that's promoting the album. It's just his way of doing it. And I think it's just too much. And I'm honestly, I hope like Kanye or someone finally somehow gets into Kanye. Like, Kanye, listen, you are clearly not going to be president or anything like this. You are clearly being like going through one of your episodes. This is not something that you should take lightly here. This is something that you need to really reflect on and really think. Because here's the thing, like, Kanye surrounds himself with like a lot of yes men, and that's the thing that's scary, that no one wants to tell him anything. And I think there's also a thing that someone said. I was watching the Flagrant 2 podcast yesterday, and it's a great podcast if you want to laugh your ass off. One of the things that Andrew Schultz and Akash Singh said was, this is clearly a pretty much a way of like the Kardashians playing off like Kanye's mental illness to gain some kind of advantage, because if you don't know this, like, Britney Spears, like, nowadays pretty much has like no control over her life anymore. She has like the control of like, I think, her father and like someone else. So she's like now like in a way a grown woman, but is pretty much controlled like a 14-year-old. And it's clearly obvious that she knows she's broken, and she knows she's like cognizant of it. It's just she can't like find a way out of it, because legally she doesn't have any rights to get out of the situation she's in. And I think that is what's going to happen with Kanye involving like the Kardashian stuff and Kim. They're going to find a way to get somehow hold of his money, because he is actually a billionaire. He just became a billionaire. Forbes officially put him on the billionaires list. He's like $4 billion or something, mainly because of like the Yeezys, the albums, and all the stuff he's done. So yeah, it's I think that is what's the case here, and that's what's scary about it. And I'm also hoping like Kanye, someone at least gets Kanye's attention and tell him, dude, you're not going to run for president. It's not going to happen. You need to get this out of your head or something. Like, no one's wants to hard stance, like, tell Kanye, like, dude, what you're doing is kind of some crazy self-deluded stuff. And to me, the thing about, like, some of the stuff like Washington, he's pretty much trying to split the votes. It's pretty much obvious that this is like, if he really is running for president, it's clearly he's going to try to split the votes between him, Biden, do pretty much a Ross Perot type of situation. And it's not going to work. And it's clearly obvious that's what's going to happen. And there's a possibility Trump gets reelected or something. But there's a possibility Trump doesn't. And I could go into that, but I think someone who more clearly went into this a lot more was the Flagrant 3 podcast. Go watch that one. It was their recent episode, like yesterday. Watch it. It's some of them go into like a good deep dive into it, and some pretty much talk about it really much better than I would. But I think there's a lot of subjects about it, and that was probably some from ESPN. So Unless we got some big news there. Let me see. Let me set you off. I don't know what you stacked up. There's someone named Woody Johnson is being investigated. I think this has something to do with golf, I believe. Because... oh, the owner of the New York Jets. So... so, breaking news here. It appears that New York Jets owner Woody Johnson was under investigation by a State Department watchdog following allegations that he made racist and sexist state comments while serving as an ambassador to the United Kingdom and sought to have the Open Championship played at a golf resort that was owned by former President Donald Trump, by current President Donald Trump. So, and this is according to a CNN report that happened earlier today. So, it says here, among these allegations are that Johnson made racist comments about black men and questioned the purpose of Black History Month. He allegedly argued that black fathers don't remain with their families, calling it the real challenge. Well, that's a big one. It says here, CNN reported that Johnson would comment on women's appearances at the embassy at public events and said that he preferred working with women because they were cheaper and worked harder. See, Johnson reported he would hold gatherings at a men's-only club, shutting out female diplomats from being able to attend, before being told by another diplomat to stop the practice. It says here, New York Times first reported Tuesday that Johnson told colleagues in February 2018 that Trump asked him to try to secure the Open Championship at the Trump Turnberry Resort in Scotland. Newspaper reported that Johnson raised the issue with the Secretary of State for Scotland, but no events have been scheduled at the President's Resort. Probably yet. Because let's be honest, someone probably going to bribe someone in Trump's cabinet, or someone's going to bribe somebody to pull that off. So, let's be honest. It says here, a source familiar with the inquiry told CNN that investigators focus on Jefferson's efforts to use the position to influence business matters for Trump. Johnson was confirmed as an ambassador in August 2017. His term is set to end later this year. So he actually is currently he is actually an ambassador. He still is an ambassador. So this is someone else. He's still there till later this year. So let's see. When he was asked by CNN about these allegations, Johnson didn't deny them and said it was an honor of a lifetime to serve as an ambassador. Okay, so I'm probably sure you don't want to support. So he was honored to be. So according to a State Department spokesman, they told CNN that they stand by Ambassador Johnson and look forward to him continuing to ensure our special relationship with the UK is strong. Basically, in other words, he was probably doing some like this with Trump for Trump. So Trump doesn't do it. So I'm just trolling here, but okay. See, the NFL is actually aware of the CNN report and referred questions to the State Department, according to a leaked spokesman. ESPN has also requested comment from the Jets. I guess they're probably going to get this at some point. On Jamal Adams, who has been seeking a trade due to frustration with his contract negotiations, actually responded to the CNN report on Twitter saying, "We need the right people at the top. Wrong is wrong. If you don't think this is wrong, you are part of a problem, not the solution." Woody Johnson purchased his team in 2000 for $635 million. He has not played an active role with the Jets since taking the ambassadorship. His younger brother, Christopher Johnson, who is a minority owner, has assumed the role of chairman and CEO of the Jets and has been handling the day-to-day operations of the team. And the contributor of this report is Rich Simini. Okay, so that's a mouthful. So So that's actually clearly obvious that my thoughts about this Woody Johnson thing. Now, I have no idea what to think about this. This is clearly obvious that this man pretty much, I mean, this is actually somehow an investigation I never heard of. I didn't know this was an investigation that was happening. I didn't know he was an ambassador. So, that makes a lot more sense why the Jets have still been shit. So, we can understand. So, now I can understand why probably Jamal Adams wants to be traded. And I'm hoping it is Baltimore. Please, Baltimore. I don't know. But let's be honest, Jets are probably going to try to send him to like the Cowboys or the Seahawks or something. But anyways, moving on. But I think this is actually interesting if he did do something about this. So I think anything's going to happen to him? No. This is pretty much what people who have money pretty much do. And this is pretty much a thing of him having like this power, and what he do with that power is pretty much he probably used it just to either A, get some extra money on top of this, and or try to get pussy. So that's what I think. So if it's the case, do I think he's gonna be, I don't know, banned for life for stuff he says? I don't know. I don't know if he's going to get the Donald Sterling treatment. I don't know. But we're going to go ahead and continue on. So, we're going to continue on. Speaking of bad football owners, let's talk about Dan Snyder. So, if you don't know, the Washington franchise owner has had some interestingly bad allegations of sexual assault and harassment by reporters and staffers and various staffers in his organization, from scouts to members of his inner circle. So, yes, this is a big one. Do I think did Snyder knew about this, and did he play a role in like covering it up? Who knows? This is right now. This is all alleged. I don't know. We are not going to immediately say this is immediate truth, but I still would say this. If it did happen to any of the reporters that stepped forward already and are planning on stepping forward in the future, I support you guys all the way there. It is something that needs to be fixed, and but it is the sign of like an organization's culture that has been quite bad since Snyder has taken over, especially in terms of like the players they have picked up in like free agency. Some of them are well known for their sex abuse, for domestic abuse, and like sexual assault cases. And like from pretty much Reuben Foster, he was released by the 49ers because of allegations of domestic abuse, and the Redskins signed him on like weeks later in the offseason, and pretty much like said like, oh, what he did is actually nothing really wrong. I mean, there's nothing wrong like using your pimp hand to discipline a woman, and somehow I think that coach got reprimanded. I think he got suspended or fired. I'm not sure. And Reuben Foster, I think that season he ended up having like a torn ACL before the season started, so didn't get a chance to play. Yes. Do I think? Do I know who is going using team name is going to change at all? I'm not sure what the team name is going to be in the future. They just hired someone named Terry Bateman, I believe, to be their VP for marketing. Try to at least market this the new logo and the new trademark and all that stuff. Try to at least make this work. Here's one of the things about the franchise is right now I think they're not gonna have a name or a logo. They're not gonna have a name or a logo It's just gonna be Washington. They're just pretty much gonna have the just they're just gonna be the franchise with just colors. It's colors and numbers. That's gonna be a basic thing, and because one of the things that's gonna be difficult is they're gonna be working with somebody with they're gonna be working with a certain somebody who has like 44, 50 names trademarked already, like in the midnight in the before Snyder became the owner, and he's somehow willing to give somehow the trademark to someone for like do the trademark thing for $1, which I'm like, really, man? Like you just want $1 for a trademark? I'm sorry if I am like say the that guy, I'm at least asking for like $1 million, maybe $2 million. If I have a trademark, like let's say there's like Louisville decides, you know what, we're gonna switch the name of the Louisville Cardinals to something else. Like let's say they were gonna go like the Louisville like Saints or something. Let's just say I decided to buy the Louisville Saints trademark first, and then so if they actually want that team name, then like the university has to give me some money for that trademark. I'm probably asking for like $1 million and like a lifetime season tickets or lifetime box seats or something. That would be me. I know I would be the asshole in this situation. That's me being an asshole. I'm going with that answer, but okay, but if not, then I'm like, but to me, that's me. That's how I would be in that situation. But, yeah, I mean, it's, I don't know what to think about this. This, Washington thing is, now the thing about the Washington, Dan Snyder, do I think he's gonna get the Donald Sterling treatment? I personally don't think so. But he has done some things, and I think he needs to, yeah, I think one of the things Mark Cuban said was pretty much just accept your mistakes, and I think that's what Dan Snyder probably did in a letter to like every member of the organization, players, coaches, scouts, like everyone in his board of directors, like everyone told them like, look, we have clearly the culture, like Bruce Allen said, like the culture was really good. Truth is, it's not. We have done horrendously bad things. We gotta fix it. We gotta, change this culture around and be the franchise that was once respected. Because the Washington Redskins, but the Washington franchise was well known, was well respected during the 70s and the 80s. And they were like well known. They've won Super Bowls. They've competed at 4 Super Bowls. They've been in playoff contention for a while. It's after the last Super Bowl in I believe 1992. I believe. Yeah, I think 92. Let me hold on. Washington. This is no longer the name. So, because this is going to be still the same thing. Their last championship was in 1992. Ever since then, they've never found a way to bounce back. They've had some moments they've come in for playoffs. But the last time they competed in the playoffs was when RG3 was their quarterback, and that was before they completely ruined him. So, it's a big thing. I think this is a culture that needs to get fixed, and they need to. And I think it's going to start with Snyder. Pretty much, Snyder. And here's the thing, as much as Snyder's done bad, he has, Maybe this is like that moment he actually realizes, am I really like this merch, this like franchise? Have I like the culture of this? Is this something I've done? And I say yes, it is. Like Dan, and I think you gotta. This is something that you want fixed up because you're in a division where you're competing against consistently against like the Cowboys, the Eagles, and the Giants, who are probably well respected franchises, have huge fan bases. Understand, like the past few years, you were like the fan base has now dissipated. Like there is hardly anyone that's going to these games. Like if you look at like the last week of the 2018 season, the Redskins played the Eagles, and the Eagles fighting for a playoff spot. It's in your home turf. You could shut the door for the Eagles. And what happened is the stadium was barely full, and they are playing in like a 65, 70,000 seat stadium. And it was barely full, and a majority of them became Eagles fans. On Monday Night Football, like a large amount of your fans were Bears fans. A lot of the fans disappeared because they were tired of pretty much dealing with the leadership in like the bad teams that have came through, the bad free agency signings, big free agency signings not becoming big as you claimed them, you wanted them to be, and like all these other things. And it just, you actually need to like, this is something that needs to be fixed. Because now it's like, now for Washington fans now probably being Ravens fans. Let's be honest. So like now, I mean, and it's the thing. Like now, Washington starting to have like a culture of winning. Finally, found a way of finding someone else to win a culture. Now, other teams that have franchises that are in your area have now won championships in their own leagues. Now, like for example, the Washington Capitals winning the Stanley Cup in 2017. The Nationals winning the World Series just last year. And I'll probably get into baseball a bit later. But yeah, it's right now a lot of people in DC don't care about football as much anymore as it used to be. About your franchise now. Now this is your way of fixing everything that you have done like the past 25 years. This is your chance to fix the wrongs you've made and pretty much try to bring back a franchise that has been pretty much thrown to the wayside for a while now. And this is something that can be done. And let's see how this goes. Hopefully the people who have done it are removed, and the people who you bring in to replace them are people who will do the right thing and help bring the franchise back to the respect it once had. So that's my opinion there on it. And then you can actually, you've had like great rivalries with the Cowboys, Eagles, Giants, and heck, you can pretty much restart a good, like, in-state rivalry with the Ravens. So it's and be more respectable. So having seen much every preseason game and anytime we play every 4 years be a total ass whipping. So yeah, so Washington, that's what you gotta do. Hopefully you guys can fix it. And yeah, that's all I gotta say about that. Alright, we're gonna go ahead, take a quick break, guys. We're probably gonna talk a little bit more about, we'll probably talk some baseball, and we're probably gonna talk about this NBA stuff in the bubble. Like, is basketball going to come back, and how many games do I think will happen before the coronavirus shuts everything down again? Which it looks like it's going to happen soon. Anyways, I'll let you guys, we'll be covering that in a minute. We'll be right back, folks. Don't go anywhere. Okay, we are back, ladies and gentlemen. We're back live. So, we are going to be talking about baseball now. Now, I'm not much of a baseball fan, I watch some games if I'm feeling like watching it. Other than that, I'm not much. I don't follow much until the postseason. But luckily enough, I don't have to worry about watching this. But this season sounds probably interesting because there's a lot of stuff about this I kind of like to see how the shortened season works, especially the fact of what's going on. So, if you don't know what's going on, the MLB season is about to begin tomorrow night. It usually is a long 182 game season, which by this point we would pretty much, if everything ran normally, we're already past the All-Star break and we're starting to get into that home stretch, that part of the season where the playoff spots are trying to be scrambled up and going into this one. Instead, we are going into a 60-game full-scale sprint instead of a game where people are going to stadiums, large groups going to the stadiums, like 10, 20,000 seat stadiums. People buying like some beers, some peanuts, and some Cracker Jacks, you know. Instead, it's going to be just no crowds whatsoever. Some cases, some cardboard dummies, probably some stuffed animals, maybe some players that are just chilling are going to be watching the game. Who knows? Who knows how this is going to work? But yeah, it is now. This season is pretty much very interesting because the main thing about this is baseball might not come back because there is some interesting stuff that's coming back. But in this game, baseball is going to be totally different. They're pretty much switching this up. So, well, this is going to work. Tomorrow, 7 p.m., the Washington Nationals begin their championship defense. Pretty much try to defend their World Series championship against the New York Yankees. And 7 p.m. tomorrow night, Dr. Anthony Fauci is actually throwing out the first pitch. For that game. So, start the season. So, yeah. Then, the same night, 3 hours later, we're going to have Clayton Kershaw take on Johnny Cueto as the Dodgers, who are pretty much the favorite to actually win this thing. They better. Against their hated rivals, the San Francisco Giants. Tomorrow, all the other 26 teams are going to be playing their games. Start their first game for the 60-game season. So how is this going to work in this shortened season? Well, they pretty much did was mostly like they decided to use strict guidelines with the baseball. There's been some people who actually are working on some people is working on they've had to work with 3-week train. They did 3-week training camps. They've had a bunch of exhibition games, just showing small exhibition games in their stadiums. Some of the teams playing some of their in-state in team rivals, pretty much playing against each other. Like Cubs and White Sox pretty much play against each other a couple times, back and forth. Just sometimes traveling between ballparks, which is probably I'm probably sure is all the way across each city, so short drive or walk. I'm not sure. I've never experienced Chicago before, so yeah. So yeah, that's what's happening. Luckily enough, there has been the COVID-19 positives have went down during this whole entire process. Are people actually following the protocols? It seems like they are, seemingly. I think with baseball, they're not going to worry about it as much. And I think they are going to try to grow comfortable and try at least keep this right. Is testing going right? It looks like so far they have only had 6 tests out of 2,000, which is pretty good. This coming from last week. This is according to league. They've been testing their team employees pretty much every single day. It looks like they are doing this via saliva samples. They are taken mid-afternoon and they are shipped to the league's Utah-based lab that same day, and then the next day they get the results in by 11 p.m. So that's actually pretty good timing. It's short timing, so that's actually pretty interesting. Nice to know how this works. So it says here it leaves a non yeah. So it says here it leaves a not insignificant window for someone who has used tested positive to spread that virus inside the clubhouse. Because let's say this, you get tested yesterday, which is Tuesday, and if he actually carries the virus, he's going to spend all day around Tuesday and Wednesday around his teammates before his result is run. And somehow to them, that is the best thing, because confirming positives can take longer. Which it says an issue is that actually forced the NBA to contract with a second lab at Rutgers University to process some of the 10,000 plus tests it actually runs each week. So yeah, it looks like it is starting to work. It looks like a lot of things are going on. It involves like a lot of swabs and stuff and like a bunch of things. So it looks like they're doing well on the testing. So it sounds like it's okay for now. They're actually working on doing this stuff like point of care machine. Looks like it got something set up with like temperature checks, temperature gun, like the infrared like gun that you use. Like you've seen that probably at your gym, maybe at your restaurant. If you work at a restaurant, in like some of the other things. So they've been using that, and of course if it's registers higher than 800.4, they actually use something that is a point of care machine that teams are getting the results within 15 minutes. And if the result is positive, start testing those that have been in contact with a person. So they started doing contact tracing, and they actually started working around like some of the lower tier employees and stuff. So it is actually interesting. One of Paris' biggest concerns as they're starting to travel says there's going to be the cases of like involving the plane rides, the hotel stays, and the bus trips. That is going to be the big thing there. Those are, I believe that's going to be the big thing. Let's see the biggest. So according to one analyst, I'm reading this through ESPN's like preview here. It looks like the biggest threat to the season would probably be here. Certainly, a skewing protocol brings its own perils, and it sounds like looks like, let's see here. It says here, what if a player travels from New York travels to Atlanta, where his family lives? Is he really going to secure himself to the hotel just for takeout? Not see his mom and dad for months of lockdown and quarantine, limit them to face call time instead of actual FaceTime. It is possible, because the risk of travel is really in much of these sorts of situations as it is in players getting a little Tinder happy. That is actually one of the things I agree with there. If you're a player, any athlete, honestly, I do not believe that for like 2-3 months. That's why I think the disabled people probably will not work as good. Because I think whoever is going to win this, whoever wins either the World Series, the Stanley Cup, and the NBA Finals, whoever team wins this, you have to have like a great amount of willpower. Like willpower and discipline. Because let's be honest, if you're spending like 2, 3, 4 months in in like this one hotel room, you can only order takeout or someone has to cook food for you, and you're pretty much, it's going to be a point like you're going to get bored, or B, you haven't had any action in a while. You really need to You don't want to just be beaten off. Sometimes you gotta need to feel the actual real deal. So I can understand like these players, but it's going to be like a thing where if you can discipline yourself enough, that's why I think. That's why I think pretty much Westbrook and Harden didn't fly with the Rockets, because I'm probably sure what they need is spend one more time at a strip club there real quick before going on there. Some of them are probably can handle it. To me, it is a question. As going to be the hard part there is who is going to commit and keep themselves disciplined from not going insane from that. And that's a bit I feel I can agree there. Cause I'm like, as I'm saying, after pretty much spending 3 or 4 months in pretty much this same exact room that this podcast was in, I'm saying there's a point you kind of start going a little crazy. And I'm saying you pretty much kind of gotta find a way of, getting your rocks off. Besides using your hand here, so I'm thinking like a lot of cases, it's gonna be tough. So yeah, so I think this is gonna be that's the key thing there. The big thing is, of course, another big thing that was talked about was the Toronto Blue Jays pretty much saying no. The federal government, the Canadian government, federal government told them, no, you are not playing in Canada at all. So, what does it look like is going to happen? It looks like right now, according to multiple resources, right now, it looks like it is the Blue Jays for the year is more than likely playing at PNC Park in Pittsburgh. Their schedule actually works somehow the right way, and because the 6-game schedule is between your division opponents and your interleague regional opponents, so the Blue Jays have to play in an Eastern time zone. And luckily enough, according to the Pirates and Blue Jays schedules, they actually both are accurate. So luckily enough, they can do this and work this thing out perfectly. Now, your September, the only thing is when in the scheduled series they have is they actually have a couple things that works kind of interesting differently, but it looks like it can work. It looks like now, is it possible that players can just opt out? It looks like so far 14 players have opted out of the season. Dozen umpires have opted out as well. So I think it's going to be interesting. So it is, I think it's a quick thing. I guess one of the things about it is the stuff that's going up with, it's going to be a big thing, is pretty much people have a hard time, is the baseball game going to be different on TV? Not really. The fan stuff is going to be different. They're going to try to replicate the noise stuff. Some of the stuff is like from MLB The Show, the baseball game on PlayStation. What I think the games are going to be, it's different because if you wonder how this game is going to be different, there is a universal designated hitter, which is the first time the National League has had it. If you play in the American League, they had this designated hitter since, like, I believe, in the 80s, I believe. And it's never been in the National League. AR traditional, like, pitchers got a hit. Now, it's universal for the season. In extra innings, there will be a runner that starts on second base in the beginning. They're doing a free batter minimum for relief pitchers and other procedural rules in a short season. So it makes every game better. So there's a lot of risks. So now it's like, according to in this 60-day game season, every game is equivalent to 2.37 games during a regular year. So if you win 3 straight games, it's equivalent to winning 8 game. You going on an 8 game streak. If you lose 7, it feels like you lost just 19. So it's like basically you gotta like make sure. You gotta make sure, especially there's gonna be a thing where pretty much they gotta like work on. They gotta work on pretty much taking like more risk. Especially, managers maybe more inclined to yank like a starting starter, especially early in the seasons. So there's actually a case there, and it looks like it's going to be a case of like a high game. There's more possibility of like a high quality multi-inning reliever. I don't know what a lot of this means, but it looks like there's a lot of stuff that's going on. It's going to be interesting. So there is actually a thing now with during training camp, Tampa Bay tested out this weird alignment that with the regular, this is a defensive alignment with a regular pitcher and catcher, 5 players on the infield, basically like a first baseman, second baseman, third baseman, and I guess in this case 2 shortstops. So I'm guessing in this case 1 in between second and third, and probably 1 between first and second, and then 2 regular outfielders, 1 staying like on left center and 1 staying on right center, which is quite possibly interesting alignment. So it's interesting to see how this works. So I'm surprised. I don't know how this works. According to this, it looks like they have like it's going to be working. This infield heavy placement is going to work for a pitcher who is a sinker baller, someone who does a lot of ground ball pitchers. So I think this is going to be an alignment that will work perfectly for him because it'll help because he is someone who pretty much tries to make you hit more ground balls and more or less like pop flies. I'm assuming. So this could help, I guess, that out. It's gonna be interesting to see how that works. So it's gonna be interesting to see how this works. I don't know how this is gonna go. I think it's gonna be interesting. I think teams are going to be quite hesitant on trying to trade players on the August 31st trade deadline, according to this. And it looks like, because it looks like if there's more outbreaks in September, which they believe could happen, and there's a possibility that it forces public health officials like, okay, we gotta shut everything down again, then any players that's going to be traded on that August 31st trade deadline aren't going to be able to play. Like, you got the trade, but did you get anything out of it? Sadly, no. So, it looks like lineups are going to change the same way. I believe it's still going to be that same way. Now, people are going to say, like, well, does that mean, like, someone is this, like, are people going to still win like this? Are people still, whoever wins the World Series is going to get that asterisk? To me, I believe that if you're a team, if you are, whoever wins it deserves it regardless, because some of them decided to take the chance to play this sport and knew the risks of this virus and still went out to play it. They deserve all the respect. They deserve the chance to win this thing. And I think it's going to be a big thing. So one of the first things that's happening is they said there are a lot of players going to kneel. That's a big question. And I don't know. I think it looks like it could happen because this area players are expected to spear several social justice initiatives, and it's a possibility that they're probably planning on doing knees to kneel. It looks like members of a San Francisco members of the San Francisco Giants and the Cincinnati Reds actually did so during exhibition games. So it looks like there is a possibility that it's happened. Because baseball is quite slow in terms of like addressing social justice issues, including its own stuff. So is it going to happen? It looks like it's probably not. Do I think anyone's going to win? Now, what's going to happen now? People win awards. According to like this, the person that did this, so it looks like according to this, it looks like it's going to be like the predictions here. It looks like it's going to be Mookie Betts for the Dodgers winning NL MVP. Sounds like that's going to happen. Like, and Mookie Betts is an amazing player. Remember seeing them play in the Red Sox. He looked pretty good. Jack Flaherty for the Cardinals winning the NL Cy Young Award. For Rookie of the Year in the NL, Carter Kieboom for the Washington Nationals. So, okay. For in the AL, it's going to be Alex Bregman for the Astros. But it looks like people want to say it was going to be Mike Trout being the right one. But it looks like he's going to opt out because his wife is about to deliver his first child. Well, congratulations, Mike Trout. So he's using some of that money to good use. Probably that big extension pretty much was a good celebration. So we're getting that. For the Cy Young Award, NL is going to be Garrett Cole for the Yankees. I think he's going to win it. He is probably the best pitcher in baseball, especially the performance he had against Rays in the division round. He's had great games, so I think he's gonna win that one hands down. And Rookie of the Year for the AL is Luis Robert for Cleveland for the Chicago White Sox. I don't know why I was about to say Cleveland. Okay, so who do I think is going to win now, who they say is going to win the World Series? According to this, it sounds like it is the Dodgers. I don't know. It looks like they can, because according to what it's saying in here, the Dodgers are going to win it, especially in a season where death could determine who can win this thing out, is death. And that's something you definitely need. It looks like the Dodgers are pretty much the team here. Plus, they got a good amount of high-level talent from Mookie Betts they got from the Red Sox. And reigning NL MVP, Cody Bellinger. They got pretty much a good bullpen with pretty much Clayton Kershaw and Walker Buehler. And do I think this is the year they got it? I honestly think they could. I think they got it. They're pretty much going to win the NL. Who I think is going to be their challengers for them, I'm not sure. I'm excited to see what's going to happen. I mean, it's still a shame we're not going to see what will happen with sadly, the we won't see what will happen with the Astros, how they're going to be handled. Especially the crowds, with no crowds. Because if this was going on, the Astros would probably get fucking booed out of every stadium. And probably every single pitch that they have gotten thrown at them, probably getting hit really in the gut, very much getting hit hard. So I think it's still gonna happen. There has been I think one pitcher for the Royals hit Alex Bregman and Jose Altuve in back to back. So and like nothing happened. Umpire just saw it happen and he was just like, I'm not gonna throw them out. I'm not gonna give them warnings. Like, hey, y'all gonna do you always gonna do this anyway. So I'm not gonna say nothing about this. He's like, oh, besides this is an exhibition anyway. So get it all out of your. Try to get as much out of your system. But I think during the regular season they're gonna probably throw some beamers at them. But since they don't have to worry about much of a crowd, that's gonna be the case there. Okay, moving on. So yeah, I think that's what's gonna happen. Do I think baseball's gonna be good? I hope so. I think it's interesting to see. Any teams I'm interested in watching, I think the one team I'm interested in watching for this season in particular is probably the Reds, because it looks like they got a core, like a good hitting core, especially with Mike Moustakas coming in from the Royals, and they brought a young man by the name of Shogo Akiyama, who's from Japan, coming in to the league, and yeah, I think it's gonna be a good core. The Reds look stacked. They got some hitters. I mean, I watched the Bats game where they had a player by the name of Brian O'Grady, I believe it's his name. And actually, dude is probably another good cleanup hitter. Because and also our Steries Aquino, also a good player, a good hitter as well, and he had a good running, I think, in the final month of the season. So the Reds got some good hitters. Pitching wise, they might lack a bit, but I think in the case of how this season's gonna go, I think they could have a chance. They're gonna be try to hit some dingers, but yeah, it's like that's gonna be. Do I think they're the best challenger for NL? Who knows? I think we're gonna see. I think who knows. I'm excited. I'm kind of interested in seeing how this is gonna go, and yeah, I think we're gonna be in for a interesting baseball season, and I'm looking forward to it a lot. So, okay, we're gonna go ahead, take a quick break. We'll get into the NBA bubble in just a minute. So we're gonna take a quick break, folks. I gotta pee. I need to use the restroom, and I'm gonna go ahead and finish this coffee here, actually, because this actually probably got cold. Okay, there we go. Alright, we're going to go ahead and take a quick break. We'll get into the NBA bubble right after this. Don't go anywhere, folks. Okay. We're back, ladies and gentlemen. We're now talking about the J Money Talks podcast. So, we're going to move on. I think we're going to talk about the NBA bubble. Matter of fact, today, in the next 40 minutes, basketball is coming back in. Well, breaking news, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, I want to get into this. Breaking news, ladies and gentlemen. Mookie Betts and the Dodgers are finalizing a deal, a $380 million deal. It is including this year, the new deal is expected to keep Mookie Betts in this Dodger uniform for the next 13 years. Woo! So until 2033, Dodger fans, you are going to be experiencing Mookie Betts for a long time. So, yep. That's not bad. That's a good chunk of money. That is a good chunk of money. Anyways. Yeah, I probably busted your eardrums there for doing that. Woo. Right there. So today we get NBA scrimmages. We are getting the scrimmages. First couple games in the season. We got some scrimmages going to happen. Some scrimmages about to happen today, I believe. First, there are 3 scrimmages. I think 3 or 4 scrimmages. I think there's 1 free and 3 free, and then 2 more on And number one at 7 and 7 o'clock, 7:30. So let me see, where was that? Because I actually had it in here. So give me a second to find those scrimmages. Okay, now I do know. Because I mentioned something about scrimmages, so because there's like, I think 5, 6, like, scrimmages, because the season doesn't start until the 30th, so we are more than a week away. But I think today they're going to be starting to do scrimmages, and I think they're on ESPN. So other than that, I'm excited, because I have not. So I would love to see baseball, and I am interested for baseball. I mean basketball. Ugh. I'm sorry. I kind of got that Mookie Betts deal that came in all of nowhere for me. So we're going into the case with basketball. Right now, we have 22 teams in this one. In the East, there are 9 teams. Excuse me. You got the Celtics, the Nets, the Pacers, the Heat, the Bucks, the Magic, the Sixers, the Raptors, and the Wizards. Right now, Boston is number 3. Is coming in number 3. They take on, in the 7 game stretch, the Bucks, the Portland Trail Blazers, the Miami Heat, the Brooklyn Nets, the Toronto Raptors, the Magic, the Grizzlies, Memphis Grizzlies, and finally end the season against the Wizards. The way it's most likely can end, they could end as being either a 3 or 4 seed. So this is where it's good. So next, we got the Brooklyn Nets. They are the 7th seed right now. They are going up against the Magic. Start the season off against the Magic. Then the Wizards. They end up playing against the Bucks. They play against the Celtics. They play against the Sacramento Kings, the LA Clippers, a rematch with the Magic, and then for the last game is against the Portland Trail Blazers. Against Portland Trail Blazers, they control their own destiny as a 7th seed. Still have control of their own destiny. They have a more likely chance of staying as the 7th seed, but there's a chance they could fall into the 8th seed. But it's a very slim chance they can drop out. So, drop out. Next team, the Dallas Mavericks, are the current 7th seed in the Western Conference. Their streaming schedule is actually in the top 10. They go up against the Houston Rockets, the Phoenix Suns, the Sacramento Kings, the LA Clippers, the Milwaukee Bucks, the Utah Jazz, the Portland Trail Blazers, and then a rematch with Phoenix to end their season off. And they have a good chance of becoming either their majority. They still can stay as a 4-7 seed. They still look like they can but they can move up to the 6th and the 5th seed. There's a slight chance they can move up to the 4 seed and or the 3 seed, which is very slim because the current team they got because it's current 3 seed in the West. Next team is the 3 seed currently is the Denver Nuggets. And they are going up against the Miami Heat, the Thunder, Oklahoma City Thunder, San Antonio Spurs, Portland Trail Blazers, Jazz, the Los Angeles Lakers, the Clippers, and then Toronto to close out their season. And they are more likely to stay as the 3 seed, but they can move up a bit into the 2 spot if they can. Next, we got the Houston Rockets, number 6 seed. They are going up against the Mavericks, starting off the season. The Milwaukee Bucks play Bucks next. Then the Portland Trail Blazers, the Lakers, the Kings, Spurs, Indiana Pacers, and then the Sixers. To close out their season, they have a good chance of staying as the 6th seed. Could stay as the 6th seed, but they can probably have a chance to move up or move down to the 7th seed. So, the Pacers, they are currently, right now, the 5th seed in the East. 5th seed in the East. They still have a chance of controlling their own destiny here. Pretty much are going to stay chance to stay in this. There's hardly a chance they could drop down much at all. Pretty much the East is locked. It's already unlocked. They pretty much go against the Sixers, the Wizards, the Magic, the Suns, the Lakers, the Heat, the Rockets, and then compete against the Heat again to close out their seeding games. Okay, next we go into the LA Clippers. They're the current 2 seed in the West. In the West, they are starting off the season big time. In the first big game is pretty much Lakers Clippers Battle of LA in Orlando, starting off the season. That's on TNT. Next they face off against the New Orleans Pelicans, then the Phoenix Suns, then they play against Dallas, the Mavericks, then the Trailblazers, then the Brooklyn Nets, then they play against the Denver Nuggets, and then the Thunder close out their seeding. They're more than likely to stay as the 2 seed, unless they actually can outpace unless the current 1 seed, the LA Lakers, are somehow able to end up losing a couple games. But the Lakers, current 1 seed, they go against Clippers in that aforementioned game. Then they go up against the Toronto Raptors. Then they play against the Thunder. Then the Rockets. Go up against the Pacers, the Nuggets, and then they close against the Sacramento Kings. And it looks like that is going to be the case. They are clearly going to be the number 1 seed. So you have a love. I think it's going to be interesting to see how this goes. I think it's going to be big season. Next, we go with the Memphis Grizzlies. Are the current 8th seed in the West. Their strength schedule is pretty much is top 5. They're the 5th highest strength schedule, hardest, and the Lakers are number 3. There's a number 3 on there, so it's actually they're high. They gotta fight for this one. They kind of have to fight for their playoffs. They gotta fight for their destiny to fight to be in this one, because they'll go up against the Trailblazers, the Spurs, the Pelicans, the Jazz, the Thunder, the Raptors, the Celtics, and then take on the Milwaukee Bucks to close out their season. And that is going to be a big one. That's an interesting way of how they're going to have to handle this. Now, the team that has the hardest, looks like probably the best schedule, probably, is the Miami Heat. They are currently the 4th seed in the East. They go up against the Nuggets, the Raptors, the Celtics, the Bucks, the Suns, and the Pacers, the Thunder, and then close out against the Pacers again. So in a rematch, and that will be the 4 seed. Now the current 1 seed in the East is Milwaukee Bucks with the Celtics. They go up against the Celtics, the Rockets, the Nets, the Heat, the Mavericks, the Raptors, the Wizards, and the Grizzlies. And it's pretty much, and they are pretty much the favorites to win all of them. The toughest one would be them against the Celtics. So, but other than that, the playoff scene, they are pretty much guaranteed number 1. It's obvious they're going to be the 1 team. Alright, now we go into the teams that are contending in the West, which is the New Orleans Pelicans. They are currently they're currently in number 10. They're 3.5 games back. They pretty much got to go on a good tear. This one, they're going to go on probably a good tear on this one. They pretty much go up against the Jazz. They go up against the Jazz, the Clippers, the Grizzlies, the Kings, the Wizards, Spurs, the Kings again, and then close out against Orlando. But it looks like they are pretty much out. They more likely be out. The 5th seed is going to be the Thunder. With the Thunder, 5th seed, going in this one, they are going up against the Jazz, the Nuggets, the Lakers, the Grizzlies, the Wizards, the Suns, the Heat, and finally the Clippers in that one. In that one, they have a good chance of staying as a 6th seed, but they could become the 6th seed, but they can keep their 5th seed in this case. So in the West, which I think they mean the East, but I think they mean the East, is the Orlando Magic, currently 8th seed. They are pretty much right now more likely to stay, but they could move up 1 because they take on the Nets, the Kings, the Pacers, the Raptors, the Sixers, the Celtics, a rematch against the Nets, and against the Pelicans close out their seeding games. Next, we go to the Sixers. They play against the Pacers. Start off against the Pacers, then go up against the Spurs, then the Wizards, the Magic, the Trailblazers, the Suns, the Raptors, and then the Rockets to close out their season. They're more likely to stay as a 5th seed, but they could drop down to the 6th seed depending on how well they do in this one. Now we go into pretty much next contender is the Phoenix Suns, who are currently, as of this moment, number 13. Number 13 in the West. They are 6 games back. They are going up against the Wizards, the Cavs. The Mavs. I'm sorry, not the Cavs. I'm sorry, I'm probably got scrambled there. The Mavericks, the Clippers, the Pacers, the Heat, the Thunder, the Sixers, and the Mavericks again to close out the season. So, but it is cool. Obviously, it's not going to happen. It's the way this is, they're more likely out. They're definitely out. Next, we got the number 9 seed in Portland Trailblazers. They're 3.5 games back. They are 3.5 games back. Right now, they are playing up against the Grizzlies, the Celtics, the Rockets, the Nuggets, the Clippers, the Sixers, the Mavericks, and the Nets to close it out. And they are, it's I think it's gonna be interesting to see how they would do. I say this: you don't want to count out Damian Lillard. That man has ice in his veins, and also we got the return of Slim Mello. Actually, return of Slim Mello, which looks like it looks like they're really trying to prime themselves up for this playoff run. So trying to get in that playoff run. So this is gonna be a big thing. So let's see how this goes. Next, we got the Kings, who are the 11th seed in the West. They're 3.5 games back as well. Their season pretty much is their next 8 games is Spurs, the Magic, Mavericks, the Pelicans, the Nets, the Rockets, another rematch with the Pelicans, and then the Lakers close out their season. And it looks like a definite out for them. And I think this might be the last. Alright, there's 3 more teams left here. No, there's like 4. Okay. We got 4 more. Next, we go with my team, the Spurs. My favorite team, the Spurs. They're currently the 12th seed. They're 4 games back. Who they got in the left is the Kings, the Grizzlies, the Sixers, the Nuggets, the Jazz, the Pelicans, the Rockets, and finally a rematch against the Jazz to close out their season. Do I think they're going to make it in? Honestly, no. This is going to end that streak of playoff berths, and I'm like, is it a sign that Popovich isn't the coach? Is done? No, I think in my opinion, it's just we kind of have. It's just a different team than it was before, and I think this is probably a point we kind of need to I think the team probably should rebuild. Should think about rebuilding. So that's my opinion there on the whole stuff going on with the Spurs. But yeah, I mean they're gonna give it a good go. I don't think they're gonna make it, but hey, there's a 5% chance they can make it in. But looks like the odds are not in their favor. So who knows? Who knows who makes out? But anyway, moving in to the next one. We got the Toronto Raptors, who are the number 2 seed in the East. They pretty much control their own destiny in this one. Toronto and Disney here. They are pretty much a lock-in for East. They go up against the Lakers. They start off against the Lakers. I don't think that is right because it's on August 1st. Do they actually? Let me see. Hold on. That can't be right. Where are they? Wait, the Lakers doing a back-to-back with the... Oh, yes, they are. Oh, wait. What is June? Oh, wait. Okay, wait. Wait a minute. Where's that? I just realized there's actually 31 days in July, so I actually work. Okay, so they can actually have. Okay, they actually do have. Okay, so there's not back to back. So okay, I was thinking there was, but it turned out I read that correct. So Lakers start off the season. So Raptors start off with the Lakers, then the Heat, then the Magic, then against the Celtics, then the Grizzlies. They play the Bucks, play the Sixers, and then end it off with a game against Denver. And this is a good team, good Raptors team. They got the depth. They still maintain the same core without Mr. Kawhi Leonard. So Kawhi Leonard. And then finally, okay, no, not finally. next, we finally go with the Utah Jazz, who pretty much are the 4 seed going into this. They're pretty much get a chance to get in there. They play against the Pelicans, the Thunder, the Lakers, the Grizzlies, the Spurs, the Nuggets, the Mavericks, and then Spurs close out again. Close it out. They are pretty much definitely a 4 seed. I think there's a rift between Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert. Yeah, I can understand why there would be a rift there. Because I've heard it's actually happened before the season, so I don't know. So that's gonna be interesting. I don't know how, but okay. And then the final team in this the last team is the Washington Wizards, who are the 9 seed in the East. They are 5.5 games back of the 8 seed. They go up against the Suns, the Nets, the Pacers, the Sixers, the Pelicans, the Thunder, the Bucks, and the Celtics in the end of the season. It's more likely they're out of this because there's no John Wall anymore, no John Wall right now, and no Bradley Beal right now. So it's clearly obvious they're not going to make it in. So I think all the teams in the East is locked. In the West, it's pretty much all the teams are about locked in. It's going to be interesting to see, but keep in mind there is a part here where if a number 9 seed finishes within 4 games of the 8 seed in either conference, there is a play-in tournament in which the 9 seed would have to beat the 8 seed twice to earn the playoff berth. While the 8 seed just gotta win one of those two playing games, and they're in. So there's a chance. So here's a chance the Wizards could probably go on a good run. Wizards could go on a run. The 9 seed, whoever is the 9 seed left, the 9 seeds are left right now. So we look at this. So if we actually look at this carefully, right now, the Trailblazers, Pelicans, and the Kings, and the Spurs, if all of those teams, because I'm kind of going to leave Phoenix out of it no offense, I don't think you guys are going to make it in. But, no offense, you guys got potential, but I don't see you guys making it in. But the Spurs and the 4 teams are in there. They still have a chance of getting in there. They can find a way to get in there close. Keep it close. And then, but I think that's going to be a case where they're going to have to work. They're actually going to have to find a way of sliding that. I guess there's going to be a play-in tournament, and I guess whoever is coming out of that can play against the 8 seed, and that's going to be a question there, and it seems interesting to see how this goes. I think it's going to be especially in case with the Wizards, if they can actually, if Magic start falling behind, the Wizards start going on a good run, which I kind of doubt will happen, Washington can play their way in. And it's a good case here. It's a good fact, a great case there. Already so that's going to be the quick question, is who will make it in first and who is not. And, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be an interesting season. Who I think is going to go to the finals, who's going to make it to the finals. I think it's more likely going to be Bucks Lakers, and I think it's probably going to be a good series. And I think I'm going to give it. I would probably want to give it to probably the Lakers. I say the Lakers gets this one. I think it's because I think it's for me. This is the Lakers' year because, especially they've been riding off the Kobe momentum, and I think you're going to probably do this, win this title, and it's for Kobe. So that's my opinion there. Okay, we'll be right back with so we're gonna go ahead and move on a bit. We're gonna go ahead and take a break. When we come back, I'm gonna try me something different. Try me something that and this is something that because this pretty much comes from a topic me and some friends of mine in a group chat on Twitter. So I guess I'll give you a backstory here before I go. So, on Friday, me and some of my friends, we are all in this group chat. We are on this group chat on Twitter, and one of my friends brought up a tweet. One of my friends, Aiden, posted whose dumbass idea was it to put chili powder on mangoes? And you know that was actually he didn't know that was a Mexican cuisine thing, and in a way he said it sounded racist, and I'm probably gonna try to I'm gonna call him up, because I'm gonna at least try get him on a voice chat thing or something. We'll actually get him on here, and we'll try at least set this up, because I want to know his thoughts on it. Plus, I actually I just bought some mango chunks, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to try this out myself. Sprinkle some chili powder on some mango chunks, and a mango chunk or two, and see how that tastes. See what that does. So, we're going to do that in a minute. So, we're going to go on and I'm going to try to get it on here in a minute. We're going to take a quick break. I'm going to go prep the mango chunks and get the chili powder real quick. And we'll see you guys in just a minute. Don't go anywhere, folks. Alright, we are back, ladies and gentlemen. So, welcome back. We are going into the next. This is topic. This is going to close out the show. This is something that was hilarious, and this is on Friday. This is on Friday. I'm in a group chat with some of my friends on Twitter. And yeah, it was about. This is this group chat on Friday. One of my friends posted this tweet. It's not there anymore, but it was my friend Aiden. He's funny dude. He actually played a role in the protests. That'll be something I'll probably bring on the podcast, because I don't think I will talk about some of the stuff that's going on in these protests eventually, because we're pretty much coming up on towards the 60th day. So this is gonna be interesting to talk about this, but yeah, so on Friday, he goes on Twitter, he makes this tweet, said, whose idea was it to put chili powder on mangoes? Right, so, and one of my friends, Matt, put this on the group chat, and he tells him, and we're just and I'm I didn't see the tweet myself. I just heard it, and I was in a group chat, and I'm just what the I'm I've heard of this before. But we were bro, I don't think you should, bro, you might want to take that down, because it sounded mad racist. So, but yeah, it's dude, that is actually Mexican culture. When my friend Alex is dude, that's literally Mexican culture. His girlfriend, actually, is, I think, part Mexican, I believe. I'm not entirely sure, but she actually has an agent before, so I have never, I'm just reading some of this stuff. It's just hilarious. One of my friends wanted to keep it because it was definitely hilarious. And I'm just like, but I'm just like, on Jordan, then I'm just like, yeah, like for real, dog, you should take it down, because I've heard of this before. I've never had it. I've heard of it, but I've never questioned it. I'm like, okay, this is something. I'm guessing this is something that Mexican people eat on as a snack. This is their snack food. This is like what they do. So I'm like, I'm not questioning this. So when he mentioned this, I am like, he says like, so I mean, he thought this was like something that a young liberal woman bought from Trader Joe's. It was like some weird hippie shit. You thought it was literally some hippie shit. So I'm like dying at this. I'm like, oh my god, dude, what the? And on the way, it does. I mean, one of my roommates lives with someone who is of Mexican descent, and he says that it is foul. That is bad. It's bad. But it's like, he didn't know it was bad. He just didn't think it was going to be... We were just like, oh my god. We were on this, like, crazy thing. I'm like, that's actually a thing. So I am like a good thing is like... So I was interested in like what that chili pepper does. So it's like, according there's like, when you eat a mango like by itself, it's quite a sweet tasting like fruit, and I guess the chili powder adds like a spicy kick to it. So I was like to myself, all right, I'm gonna go ahead. I bought me some mango chunks already chopped up from Kroger. Right here, we got some mango chunks right here. I got me the chili powder right here. So, got me the chili powder. Pretty much, this is like some chili powder you get at Kroger. You know, probably it won't hit differently. Maybe here's a different type of chili powder that would work best for this. So, I know I'm like, yeah, I'm making this an app. This is gonna be on the podcast. It's like the next episode. Podcast. I'm interested in see how this tastes. So like everyone else knew. So everyone else knows this. So everyone else knew this was actually something that was good. And I'm like, I kind of can understand him like not knowing what it is, but it's like, it's just, I'm surprised he didn't know. So it's like, so what it was, a question he said was, okay, so can I think a certain food agriculture is foul without being racist? So that's the question. Can a food be bad? Can you talk about how bad some culture's food is, food from another culture, call it bad, and still not be ignorant of the culture? I don't know. I think it's interesting to me. Like, I think a lot of people, we can talk about cultures. Like, some foods, I kind of understand. Like for me, no offense, like anything about all of the China stuff that's going on with the coronavirus, if some of this stuff actually did came from China because someone eating an actual bat, then I think it's not wrong to talk shit about it, because then it's like, really? Like, why are you eating bats? Like, why are you eating bats? Like, why are you eating, like, these weird animals and stuff? Like, how do you guys not know how to raise cattle and, like, make a sustainable amount of, like, cattle or something? Like, that's to me, like, something, like, there are people who eat bugs and, like, monkey brains and stuff, and I'm like, and to me, it's just, like, weird to me. Like, that's how some people get protein off of the bugs and stuff. And, I mean, it's nothing wrong if you eat bugs. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just, hold on. Yeah. Had to use my teeth. So, alright. So, got me mango chunk here. So, this is going to be fun. So we're gonna grab us one mango chunk here. We got the chili powder. We're gonna sprinkle some of this on. Okay. Have this spread up on the top and stuff. Alright, so here we go. Mango with some chili powder. Here we go. Doesn't taste anything different. I don't taste much difference to it. So, it doesn't sound like it's bad. There's nothing wrong with it. Like, we were talking about this, and it was like a lot of stuff involving, like, yeah, talking about, like, mangoes, and, like, talking about this mango chili powder stuff. I don't think it's anything different. It doesn't, like, I think it doesn't, like, enhance it. So maybe we should try another, I'm gonna try another chunk, see what this does. Like, I think maybe you toss it around and see if it does anything. Doesn't change anything. It doesn't taste like it changes anything. I think it tastes normal. It's like there's nothing crazy about it. I'm guessing maybe you toss it in maybe you sprinkle a bunch of it and you just toss it in the mango chunks and then you just eat it like that. I don't know how this works. There's a certain way you do it. So, other than that, I don't taste anything weird. Tastes fine. It gives it a little, like, extra, maybe something. But right now, I don't taste anything different. I'm gonna leave some of these mango chunks out. But yeah. Do I think it's weird? No. Now, we also talked about, like, the thing about, like, I think one of the things about it was, can I think a certain food from another country is foul without being racist? I think so. I think it just, I agree with, like, I think Matt said this, like, just don't be, like, at talking about who the fuck makes this shit, and then that's what you should not do. And we end up going into a brief discussion about Mexican street corn, which is actually a fire ass thing, which I've never had before. I've never had it. I've seen photos, like seen great photos of it. I've never had it. I'm gonna find some place that actually does these elotes, and then I'm gonna try one out myself. Alright, we are all like, this man is
we were all like laughing and rolling, laughing like at hell out of it. Like we were just like dying at this so much. This whole group that was like on one. Well, we were like, he said like we were gonna make a new tweet, and then and I'm like, what is this about to be? What Mouse's idea was to fry bananas as a plantain stuff, and I'm like, oh my god, we were all, I was like, oh no. We were like none, because I'm like, just a thing, and I'm like, it's something, I don't know. Oh yeah, I was done at that point because I was like, this is just crazy. I'm just like, don't tweet that out because I was like, I'm not gonna eat any tweeting this, but I'm like, we were just done. It was just all, it was like, this was a comedy of a bunch of things. It was just insane. Um, and everything was definitely this was the topic. And so I'm like, yo, can you actually talk shit about other countries' cuisines without it being racist? And racist, I kind of agree. I think you can. It's just, you just don't want to say something like, go into like that part of like, I think it just, as long as you don't say it in that way, like, who makes this shit, it's just weird. I say this. I think it should be right to say it's weird. So I'm like, that's what I think. Yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and tweet this out. You know, I'm gonna get A on this here. Hang on, let me try to get my boy Aiden in there. So I'm like, either we can try to get him in here live, or we can like get him on the phone. I'm gonna try to get one for two. We're gonna try real quick. So like, give me a minute. Let me see where I can get him. But yeah, okay. Here were the scrimmages. Yeah, the 4 scrimmages are the Magic is taking on the Clips right now. Then we got the Wizards taking on the Nuggets at 3:30, and then at 7 o'clock, the Pelicans take on the Nets, and the Kings take on the Heat. So that's going to be the 4 scrimmages for today, and I think there's more tomorrow, probably. But man, I ain't gonna lie, these Bengals actually slap. Anyway, so yeah, I think there's nothing much really into the. I don't taste any. It didn't taste much. It didn't. It doesn't feel. I don't feel anything. I feel a little kick, but it isn't as bad. But other than that, this Bengals by itself is slapping. So I'm like, I'm gonna wait a few minutes to see if he's like, if I can get him like on the phone or something. But yeah, yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and take a break. I'm gonna go ahead and enjoy some of these mango chunks real quick. But yeah, but yeah, this is a good topic. Let me see if I can get in. We're gonna take a quick break. And we'll probably get his thoughts about this whole situation. So we'll see. Oh, I'll be right back. Try to get him on the phone or something. Don't go anywhere, folks. Okay. Alright, everyone. So, I don't think I can get my boy Aiden on here. I think he's probably at work right now. So, I'm probably going to try to do something probably like tomorrow. We'll probably do a little segment here. Like a little, like a extended clip here. Pretty much like just to get his thoughts on this whole thing. But yeah. I mean, to anybody who's of mixed descent, I think it's okay. Mango by itself, it's fire as hell. I'm enjoying this. I'm enjoying the fuck out of this. At least I'm probably gonna have some more of these later. Probably had some of these in my smoothie. Anyway, but other than that, nothing really much happened. Maybe I did it wrong. Maybe I'm not supposed to sprinkle on some mango chunks. Maybe I'm supposed to sprinkle on like a whole mango or toss it in it. Toss the spice in with the mango, and I don't know. Maybe there's a way I have to do this, but I think it's salem's alright. I didn't taste anything different. So yeah. So yeah, thank you guys very much for watching. So next week, in the next episode of the podcast, I'm gonna do is a Q&A. I'm gonna let you guys, if you guys are in the comment section, we're gonna do hashtag JMoney Q&A. I'm pretty much gonna try to get all your questions. I'm gonna answer the questions I like, and the questions I don't like, I'm probably not answering whatsoever. I don't want to hear anything weird shit, like what my favorite type of socks to wear when I work out, what's the circumference of my dick or whatever. No. We're not doing that, people. Not happening. So, thank you guys very much for watching. Be sure to give a like to this here. Share this with your friends. Try to get them in on the Money Talks podcast. Get them in on this. And we do this. I pretty much am doing this every week, and I'm still planning on doing this every week, especially even as I'm very much going through the motions back to work again. I'm pretty much going back to work. So who knows? I'm still gonna try to keep up with the timing. Try to keep up with doing these regularly. And yeah. Thank you guys very much for watching. I am your boy J Money. I'll see you guys on the next episode, and I'm looking forward to a lot of your guys' questions. So, thank you guys for watching. I will see you all and next time. Peace out, y'all. Stay safe out there, y'all.